friend, do you ever feel like it's your job to show up for people in relationships with friends, with family, with your partner? Well, I know that's something that I have often felt. This is something I've experienced in my life, that I needed to be there for everyone else. And if I didn't show up for them, then bad things would happen. Well, what are those bad things? Well, they might not like me anymore. They might leave me. They might say unkind things about me, or they might do unkind things to me. So it was my job to always be there for them. And it wasn't really their responsibility to put much into the relationship. All of that weight was on me. Have you ever felt like that? That's how I used to feel. But I've gone through some things in my life, and I've learned some things, and I want to share with you today how you can overcome that. And the reality is, what we are talking about are two different issues: catastrophizing and people pleasing. Now, people pleasing is a very common one, especially for women, and oftentimes for all ages of women, but oftentimes for women like me in the second half of life. I've been people pleasing for a long time. So catastrophizing is believing that the worst possible thing that could happen will happen. And people pleasing is feeling like we always need to be there for everyone else. So the issue for me with these two things are that if I don't show up for other people, then people will leave me. They won't love me, they won't care about me. Basically, they will abandon me. So that's catastrophizing, but it's catastrophizing with people pleasing. Okay? Now, how do we overcome this? How do we deal with this? First of all, I think it's really important to recognize, where does this come from? Now, that may take some deep work, maybe with a coach or a counselor, to understand where that fear comes from. Or, you just might need to take some time and process it. Do some journaling about it. Maybe visit with a friend or, someone that you really trust, to just visit with them about it. That might be enough to overcome it. But to understand, where does that come from? So I understand where that comes from for me, because as a 10-year-old child, I was abandoned. I was taken away from my biological family, and I was placed in foster care. That's another whole story. Plan to do a video about that. But to understand, where does that come from? So when we understand where it comes from, then we want to think about, is that true for today? Is that my life right now? Well, the reality is, that is not my life right now. I have good, trusting people in my life that I know are not going to abandon me. I know that they love me, even if I don't always do what they want me to do. And so that's the first step. And when we do that challenging, oftentimes we'll recognize, no, that's not going to happen. But another technique is, we could also think about, well, what if that worst case scenario did happen? What if I didn't please other people? What if they did actually all abandon me? What would I do? But even when I think about that, I realize, oh man, that's ridiculous. That will not happen. And so after you recognize where it comes from, where that belief comes from, and you challenge it, is that really going to happen in my present day life? Then another thing, or the next step that you can take, the next thing you can do, is to say, how can I change this? How can I gain some perspective and look at it differently? So what has helped me, as I, have this worry, this rumination about, if I do not please people, they will abandon me, how I have overcome that is two ways. So first of all, I think about the people in my life, and I recognize I can trust them. So even if they do things that might feel like a little abandonment, I trust that their love for me, that our relationship is strong enough that they will not abandon me. What happened to me as a child will not happen in these primary relationships that I have now. So that's one thing that I can do. Maybe you can do too. And then the next thing is to really have self-compassion. I've talked about that before. Maybe need to do another video on that. But that is really important, to love and to value ourselves. That is going to help us not catastrophize and to realize that it's not just in the showing up for other people that gives us value, but it's in valuing ourselves. That is important too. And you know, the reality is that those relationships are much healthier and much stronger when we take care of ourselves first. Because when we take care of ourselves, when we fill up our own bucket, we have more to give to other people. And when we set boundaries, it's another big topic that I've talked about and will continue to talk about. But when we set boundaries in relationships, that helps the relationships also and makes them stronger and makes them healthier. Now, if you like what I'm saying today, please like this video, share it with someone else, and subscribe to my channel. And if something that I've talked about today, you know, maybe you catastrophize in some area of your life, or maybe you have really struggled with people pleasing, put that in the comments. I would love to hear what you are struggling with, what's going on in your life. Okay, so to recap what we've talked about today, I've shared with you my tendency in the past to catastrophize over people pleasing, that if I don't please everyone in my life, they're going to leave me. And the things that I've shared about how we can overcome this, how I have overcome this, is to first just recognize what is there, just to pause, because so often we are feeling these things really almost on a subconscious level. And if they've been with us for years, like this had been with me since childhood, then we may not be recognizing that's what's going on. So the first step is just to recognize what's happening and where does that come from? Where has that happened before in your life and how it's affecting your life now? And then to challenge that. You know, are people really going to abandon me if I'm not doing everything they want me to do? Well, of course not. So challenge it. Maybe look at the worst case scenario, depending on what your situation is. If that worst case scenario happened, what would I do? How would I make it through? And then to think about, what can I do? How can I change this thought process that I have? And the two things that helped me was to recognize I have people in my life that I can trust. I have many trustworthy people in my life that I know love me no matter what. And to practice self-compassion. And that is loving and trusting myself. All right, so I hope this has been helpful today. Thanks so much for being here. And again, comment, let me know what you're thinking about this, this video and what we've covered in the video. Okay, that's all for today. Bye-bye.